when you look at your whole life, um, like this too will pass. And when you're in the moment, it's so hard, and it's so hard to think that, there's better days ahead or it's going to get easier, but it really does. And you know, I've had some doozy days. I still do. I still have days where I'm just, oh, when is this going to be over? And this, it's not fair, and it's so hard, and I'm tired, and I never get a break. And I mean, you name it, I've said it. And I there are days that are really hard, but I always think, if this wouldn't have happened, there are so many moments I wouldn't have had with Lily and Grace, because they would have been at school. And and even if it's just one line that they said that day over lunch that normally they would have maybe said at school or to somebody else, I got to be there for it. And we've created so many awesome memories because we haven't really had a choice. So focus on those, and just really try to narrow down some of those really, really great moments and focus on them, because there's a lot more that are going to happen. And you might even write a book about it.
And what advice? So normally this is the last question I ask my guests, but I'm switching this up a little bit.
Ooh.
So normally I ask someone to think back to when they were like 10 years old, and I want them to whisper advice into their 10-year-old self's ear. So being able to take the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, of experience and knowledge and mentorship and struggles, and taking everything you can and giving that advice to your younger self to help you along the way. But in your case, you have some young daughters. So what would you whisper to them as advice? So let's say you are about to, like, today is your last day on earth, and you are leaving them with this advice, taking from personal experience. What would you whisper in their ears as a leaving message?
Before I answer that, reminds me of inside the actor studio, where they used to ask all these questions like, what's your favorite curse word? And if you arrive to the pearly gates, what would you think God would say? I feel like I'm living that right now. And
I left the religious context out of it, but yes, it's similar. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, man, I think I would just say, just don't ever give up on yourself, because as soon as you lose that, it doesn't really matter what other advice someone else can give you. And that's still something that I learn every day. Um, just don't give up on what you really want. It's not that deep, but that's it.
That was pretty deep. I listened to a podcast a couple days ago where they said the worst betrayal is when you betray yourself. So